All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our next fighter making his way to the cage, Bo Moskowitz.
Coming into the cage now, a U of MMA favorite here. 19 years old, 5 feet, 8 inches tall, Bo Moskowitz. The Israeli fighter has been training at House of Champions in Aziz MMA, but most recently headed out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, has been training with Greg Jackson over at Jackson's MMA. A big step up, both in coaching and training partners.
That's a huge step up. That's telling yourself, I'm 19 years old, I want to take this seriously. I need to find the best training partners in the world, and you're going to find them at Albuquerque, New Mexico at Jackson's MMA. I've been out there myself, and that's where you go to get better, and that's where you go to really, if you want to make a career out of it, that's one of the 5 or 6 places you could choose to really go to.
And he's out there now training with former Ultimate Fighter winner John Dodson, who just challenged for the 125-pound title in the UFC. Also Diego Sanchez, a former title contender. So he's got some top-tier training partners. He says he's improved his wrestling, picked up the intensity, but when this fight's over, the one food he wants is pizza. No pepperoni, though, because he wants to be a good Jew, keep kosher, but he definitely wants a pizza.
I love the good Jews, but I love myself some good pizza, too. And, I'm excited. I don't get really excited about many young fighters. That's a lie. I get excited about young fighters, but this fighter, he's a beast. I see it in his eyes. He's super respectful. I just love his work ethic and the way he approaches fighting. He approaches the right way. It takes a lot of guys a little later in their career to get to that point, and he's there at 19 years old. That's huge. And I'm going to call it early. We'll see this guy in the UFC in 2 years.
That's not a bad prediction. You know, Bo's record might be a little misleading. He has 1 win and 1 loss, but that loss was when he KO'd Darian Matthews in the first 5 seconds, but was disqualified after the referee determined that he failed to listen to instructions at the stoppage.
Right, so he's 2-0, and he's moving on to his next fight, and here we are.
And his opponent making his way to the cage, Louie the Minister Leyva.
And now his opponent making his way out in front of the crowd, Louie the Minister Leyva. The 29-year-old stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall. He's a southpaw, training out of Goleta, California, another little bit up there at UCSB, the University of Casual Sex and Beer, as some have said. He's with Valhalla Elite Training, a background in 10 months boxing, 8 months mixed martial arts. His current coach is Michael McDonald up there at Valhalla ETC. He has 2 daughters. His daughter Sarah, who is 8, and his son Louie, who is 7. Oh, 2 children, sorry. His daughter Sarah, 8, and daughter Louie, 7. Both are very involved and informed with his training. So he might be raising the next generation of fighters.
He might be, or he might not be.
You never know. Maybe they'll both be painters. You can't predict it.
Or architects, or anything of any nature.
One of them could even be a lawyer.
Lawyer's pretty good. Maybe
even an interior designer, like one of our fighters earlier tonight, Laura Salazar.
It's crazy how fast you thought of that name.
I know. I am just so quick on the uptake. I'm like Google, but I'm a human.
So we got the minister against
just a murderous Israeli guy.
I didn't want to say it.
The minister versus Mossad. That's what we can say.
Exactly.
That's a good combination.
I didn't want to say it, but it's awesome. It's awesome in so many different ways, and I'm excited for this fight. I'm really excited for Bo. I have a lot of friends that train out at Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good friends with John Jones. Not mean to name drop, but
hold on. Can I pick that up for you?
Thank you.
Let's enter the cage now with Salvador Arellano.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our next fight is brought to you by WSS Shoes Style Selection. Scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds in the 170-pound division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, He comes to the cage with a record of 1 win and 1 no contest. His 1 win coming by way of submission. He stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighing at 168 pounds, representing Aziz MMA and House of Champions from Encino, California, Moskowitz. And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, a southpaw fighter making his debut. He stands at 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighing at 169.2 pounds, fighting with Valhalla Elite Training Center from Santa Barbara, California, Louie the Minister Leyva. Man in charge of the action, Mike Bell.
All right, here we go for this 170-pound fight. Louie Leyva here in the red, Dean Bo Moskowitz in the blue. It starts here. Dean Bo very light at his feet.
Looks like he set up a huge kick or a right hand.
And you can see, even though he was defending that takedown, really strong work in that defense here so far from Dean Bo.
This choke looks really, really tight. This could be the fight right here. This could really be the fight right here. We might have a fighter go to sleep. I don't think he's going to tap, but this is really, really tight.
Dean Bo Moskowitz really putting everything he can into this choke right now.
And this is a John Jones style thing right here. Put Lyoto Machida's back to the cage. He's still there, but this is really, really tight.
You know, if this isn't finished, so you got to worry about the arms of Dean Bo Moskowitz.
You do. But he's readjusting, and he's doing a good job of keeping his shoulder forward. A lot of guys when they do the guillotine, they don't keep their shoulder forward. He's doing a really good job of just pressing it. So he lost it right there. Wow, Dean Bo's rocked.
I think it was more of a bad timing for that punch, a little bit of a slip. Because now here we go, Dean Bo taking that back.
You see, he's got to get the hooks in. There we go. There's still some holes in Dean Bo's game.
He's young. He's 19 years old.
He is, which is always there's always going to be holes, and you always want to close them. But he's got a lot of potential. I really like this kid. So right here, he's got the choke in right here. It's tight, but he needs it he needs to roll him back across. There's a little readjustment. A couple strong strikes.
You know, holes or no holes, it's very clear that Dean Bo is continuously working hard and making strides in that game.
Wow, very dominant round, just having his opponent in chokes.
Now, here's the big question, though. How much damage did he do to Louie Leyva, and how much gas did he take out of his arms with 3 different submission attempts?
I think it took a little gas out of his arms, but you got 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. I'm sure he's training 5-minute rounds where he's training at. He doesn't look really too tired. What I love about these amateur fights is you could leave it all out there. You could go as hard as you want and still, you got to have the confidence that you're going to be all right, because it's only 6 minutes of competition. You
can definitely redline it a bit when you're trying to do it for such a short time.
You can, knowing that your trade-off is 2-1, 2, and the fight's over. So, I dig it.
All right, here we go. Getting ready for round number 2. Louie Leyva in the red corner, Dean Bo Moskowitz in the blue. Louie getting some good coaching from his corner. You know, Louie still looks fresh, still looks good to go.
If you're out at Albuquerque at altitude training, you come back down here to smoggy LA, you'll be all right.
Louie doesn't look like he's backing down. Dean Bo, eyes locked on his opponent.
But I really think Dean Bo got rocked. That was a really clean right hand.
Now, neither of those connected, but I really liked that straight right from Dean.
Yeah, he's fighting an opponent that throws somewhat wide strikes, but aggressive. Wide or not, if they land, they're going to hurt you. It's really turned into somewhat of a street fight.
Yeah, I think Dean wants to create some space here so Dean Bosa can throw, and Louie wants no part in that. He thinks he can muscle around the smaller fighter.
You know,
but
Dean Bo needs to get his jab working. When he's outside of that range, he needs to get the jab going.
And Dean Bo avoids a takedown, gets right into the mount. And we've seen Dean Bo do some damage from this position before. But now a quick reversal. Now we've got Louie on top.
No hooks at all. You have to secure your opponent's waist. You can't do anything on the upper body unless you have the lower body controlled. You always want to control your opponent's hips.
And now Dean Bo landing some hard hammer fists to the side of Louie's head.
See, he is making mistakes. He's turning his back.
Oh! That's a couple of big strikes there from Dean Bo.
Those are huge.
Louie definitely looks rocked now.
And he's got himself almost, that's tight. That is very
now
tight.
that's Dean Bo putting in that choke. It's going to be hard for Louie to be able to resist this one.
Somewhat of a cobra choke he has, and the fight is over.
And that's the tap. What a performance by the young Israeli, Dean Bo Moskowitz. You know, I've seen all three of this kid's fights so far, and he's getting better every single time. Sure, he has gaps. Sure, he has more to learn. He's a 19-year-old amateur fighter, and he's training with those killers over at Jackson's. This guy has a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, if anyone's going to show him his holes, it's going to be those guys. And if anyone can close those holes, it's Greg Jackson.
You know, Dean did a great job of weathering that overhand right in the first round. Might have been a right hook, not entirely sure. But he took it on the chin, dealt with it, moved forward, and then that sequence there right before the choke, as Louie was rushing in, those straight punches, caught him, rocked him. He saw the opportunity, bam, get that choke in, night's over.
Night is over for these guys, but not for us, as we have 4 more fights tonight.
Well, if they're like they've been so far, I have no qualms about that. I'm excited to see them. Again, a good show of sportsmanship. Dean Bo always trying to be an example. He believes very heavily in being an example as a fighter, and now exchanging a hug with his father, who's also one of his biggest supporters.
I'm going to take a look at this this near finish, the combination that rocked Louie Leyva.
The right hand does some damage, the left hand does some damage, and look at how deep he has. He's almost doing like the McKenzie team.
Pretty much.
The Cody McKenzie, where you slide it all the way across, and then you're using both the bicep and the forearm to cut off the carotid arteries.
Well, the further you can get your arm in, the deeper and more torque you can have on that choke. So
a lot of people do that guillotine by putting just the forearm under the neck and pulling backwards. But when you the more you get that to the point where you're almost doing the same type of pressure as a rear naked, but from the front.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. A full strangle all the way around.
I mean, having someone rub their forearm deep into your Adam's apple is never fun, but having someone put you to sleep's a lot worse.
Well, it's kind of fun sometimes. Depends on who's doing it.
Yeah, I guess it does depend on who's doing it. Dean Bo getting some nice ovation from the crowd. Here with your official decision is Salvador Arellano.
The third man in the ring, Mike Bell, brings the fight to a halt 1 minute, 39 seconds into the second round. For your winner by way of tap out due to a front face guillotine, out of the blue corner, Dean Bo Moskowitz.
Dean Bo, as always, exciting to watch you fight. You wanted that guillotine, you got the guillotine, but I got a question for you. Did you get rocked a little bit in the first round with that overhand right?
I wasn't rocked at all, but I made a mistake. I did make a mistake to hold on for the first choke for too long, but that's why I'm here, to learn and to grow.
And you do. Every time you come to the U of MMA, you come back a stronger fighter. What do you want to tell all your friends and fans that come and support you and show you love?
My inspiration from this fight came from my sister, Shira Sofia Moskowitz. Wherever you are, I love you. Where are you? Where, there? I love you. You're the best. You're stronger than me. You're a better fighter than I am.
Now that's some sibling love. Dean Bo, you know we love having you here at the University of MMA. Thank you for coming. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll be back in May for a bigger and better show.
Give it up for him, Deanbo Moskowitz.
What a great performance again from the young fighter, Deanbo Moskowitz. His third fight here at the U, and as he said, he'll be back in May. Let's hope. Always fun to watch. A win by round 2 guillotine for Deanbo Moskowitz.